Welcome back to the Better Late Than Never Club. I'm Beck.
And I'm Frost.
And boy, we've missed you all.
It's been a minute.
More than a few.
We've been really busy.
Super busy with like all of our other things that we do.
So we ended last season with a bit of a ta-ta for now because we had just moved to a new house and we had nowhere to podcast. And that episode was recorded on like a couch with a computer and mics sprawled across the floor. And that absolutely would not do.
Yeah, it was unideal.
So we've spent some time. We've put together a special little place with some dedicated chairs. We're not doing this in the lounge room anymore. It's hopefully more acoustically better. That's a legal term.
Acoustically better.
Yeah, that's a legal term. I spoke to the editor, so, you know.
I mean, only time will tell. Who knows? Maybe the first few episodes of this season will be janky, just like our first ones were ever. But
How dare you? How dare you? On the bloody good name of the editor, you drag it through the mud.
Not janky in that way. Gosh, sensitive stuff. Am I right, folks? All right. Let's not waste any time. Let's get back to watching movies.
Yeah, I missed it. I've missed it so much.
Specifically, old movies that I probably should have seen by now.
And old movies that, if we've seen them before, they're worth a rewatch for whatever reason. And I feel like the one we've picked to kick off season 3 is a pretty good one for how things are going at the moment.
Well, yeah, I guess time will tell. You've seen it. I haven't. We're watching Idiocracy.
Which I love that we set up this intro. It's in the name of the episode. It's probably my favourite bit. Is that everybody...
That we pretend like people don't know.
It's like you've clicked on the episode named Idiocracy.
Hey, maybe this is autoplayed. You don't know their life.
That's true. Look, it's true.
You know, let's not pigeonhole people.
It is my favourite bit, though.
Maybe they've clicked shuffle and then immediately closed their eyes. You don't know.
I don't. It's true. I don't know. We're doing it for the people who can't read, maybe.
Right.
Exactly.
Justice for them.
It's a service. Anyway, go on.
So, Idiocracy, 2006. So, a 20-year-old film at this point.
Which is scary to think about.
Yeah, sorry for that reminder. Sci-fi comedy, which from what little I know about this movie makes sense.
Yep.
A practical short film in these days, it's an hour 24.
Oh, what a delight.
Which, you know, I guess used to be more normal, but now feels short in today's world of cinema.
These days, if we can squeeze in a 2-hour film, it feels good.
Exactly. It generally reviewed pretty well. You know, not like glowing reviews, but like above average, but, you know. However, at the box office, not so great.
I can see that. I mean, comedy never does, with exceptions, comedy never does that well at the box office.
Yeah, so this particular one, so it had a budget of 2.4 mil. And it box officed at 495,000.
Oh, ouch.
Yes, that is a painful...
That hurts.
Difference there. Now, this is largely attributed to the film being seemingly buried by 20th Century Fox.
Interesting.
Like, it got delayed and then limited release. It wasn't released early to reviewers. It had barely any advertising / no advertising.
Really?
It felt like they buried it because they just didn't think that it was going to be very good. They didn't want it to reflect badly on them, so they basically were like, we don't want this to be a thing. And
honestly, that's kind of checks out.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember anything about it when it came out. I just remember it sort of got a bit of a DVD following, if you will.
Well, like a lot of films, now it is considered a cult classic, which is usually a phrase reserved for films that did not do well in the box office, but later found success in, you know, maybe a generation later, people finding it and enjoying it and gathering around it and making it a meme or a joke or whatever.
Or startling at its very scary...
It's prescience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. So... what do I know about this film? I know that it involves sort of a future, not quite a dystopian. It's not dystopian, but it's more like a perceived, a possible future of America where everyone is super stupid, right? And the world has taken this interesting turn in terms of intelligence, basically. And just the human race has shifted in its capacity and capability, and there's a guy that is sent to the future, essentially. He wakes up after, I don't know if he's been in a coma or something. Yeah. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Cryogenically frozen or some other
plot happens.
Way to be in the future. Anyway. That's basically all I know. I know that it's full of gaffes. That was sort of one of the biggest things I saw about reviews, was that it had a lot of good jokes, but people weren't super convinced that it made a great plot all strung together, but it had a lot of clever jokes and bits throughout.
That's my recollection of it. Like, that it is a very funny film because it has a lot of very funny moments.
Yeah.
And that overall the plot is...
I mean, it's an hour 24 of a comedy film. You're not going to get, a deep plot.
Yeah, and I think that's fine for this kind of film.
What I'm kind of expecting from it plot-wise is something akin to a Wayne's World.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Where that had a plot as well, technically, but it was like pretty loosey-goosey.
It sure did.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about cast. Seemingly, from the cast list on Wikipedia, a fairly small cast, at least in terms of named people.
Yeah, I think speaking roles is pretty limited.
Yeah. So, top of the list, we have Luke Wilson, who has been in a few things, namely Legally Blonde, Anchorman, Blades of Glory, Royal Tenenbaums, and many other things.
This is the movie that I think of him in.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of his most visually recognizable roles. The other thing that he's famous for is being Owen Wilson's brother, of course.
Oh, really? Yeah. Now that you mention it, makes sense.
There is a visual component to that for those of us who aren't critically face blind like you are. The last name also helps. Following that, we have Maya Rudolph, of course, known for her incredible roles in Bridesmaids, of course her long tenure on SNL, her speaking role in Big Mouth, rather her animation, what's it called? Voiceover. That's the one. Yeah. And The Good Place, one of my favourite roles she ever did.
Who's she in The Good Place?
She's the judge. She's like God.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not God, it's like the judge.
Yeah. I don't remember enough of this film. The only bits I remember is Luke Wilson and a character who doesn't have a name, and then the actor.
Terry Crews?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get to him. So, another interesting thing, this is totally aside, and I don't want to be the person that sums up a woman by who she's partnered with, but she's been in a long-term relationship, not married, but, has several kids with Paul Thomas Anderson, the director of One Battle After Another.
Oh.
Just a fun little tidbit that I found on my little Wikipedia deep dive.
There you
go. So he clearly has great taste, because Maya Rudolph is great. We also have Dax Shepard, who
that name rings a bell.
I'm going to summarise him as he's married to Kristen Bell. He also has a podcast. That's about, I think he's been in things, but I haven't seen him in anything. To me, Dax Shepard is the kind of weird husband of Kristen Bell who has a podcast. That's about it.
I mean, look, fair enough. I mean, to be in the shadow of Kristen Bell, that's...
Yeah, look, their relationship often has headlines, and we don't need to get into all that, but, I'm intrigued to see him actually act. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything, although he is an actor, as far as I'm aware.
The bar that will be set by this film will not be high.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Then, of course, we have Terry Crews, like you said, who White Chicks, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, it's Terry Crews.
It's Terry Crews.
Need we say any more? He was like the big draw for this film, I think. He was the big name of, because he'd done White Chicks already. And
he also plays like a fairly major role.
Yes. Well, I do know the role that he plays, the president.
It's hard to miss.
Yeah. And then we have the last person in this list, who I wouldn't have written down otherwise, because I clicked on and I didn't recognise the person or anything. Andrew Wilson. Another Wilson brother has hit Idiocracy. He is the eldest of the three Wilson brothers, and he's done a handful of acting things, but he's definitely not visually recognisable as a big actor. Fun fact. There's two Wilsons in this film.
There's only one thing you can say to that, and that's wow.
Yeah, wow. So that's the cast we're working with, which I was surprised to see not only such a small list, but a bunch of fairly recognisable names, really. That's surprising to me.
Mid-thousands comedy, it's, you're going to get a big
span. But for something to have not done so well, it really shows you how much it probably was buried, right?
It's not the publisher. The studio choking it to death so that it doesn't do well could well have been intentional because of the message that the movie sort of has.
Yeah, from what I gather, the studio was worried they would offend audiences.
Yeah,
basically, by calling them stupid.
A pretty reasonable thing to assume.
Yeah. So, last but not least, as always, we're going to talk about the director, Mike Judge. Now, he, I think, also maybe wrote and produced it. This is his brainchild for all intents and purposes.
No relation to Christopher Judge?
Not this far. Definitely not visually. So, looking at his directing history specifically, he's been involved in a lot of things in terms of writing and producing and even a little bit of acting. But speaking just of his directorial stuff, in terms of movies, the only one I recognised was Office Space.
Oh, well, that makes sense for the kind of movie
The
that
black
is.
comedy type thing.
Yeah.
I know you've seen Office Space. I haven't though, so I can't directly compare.
How have you
for
not seen
that.
Office Space?
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know if you know this, but the premise, the third season of this podcast we do is kind of based on the fact that I'm criminally underwatched in terms of movies. But I did note that he's done a lot of directing in TV as well.
Yeah, right.
Two notable examples within that is Beavis and Butthead.
Yep, that
So
tracks.
I get it felt right in terms of what kind of comedy I'm expecting from this movie. And the second one is not one I've seen, but a more recent example that I know has done well is Silicon Valley. It's a TV show that I've heard's really good. It's been around the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I've seen some shorts of it.
I don't know if it's still going, but either way, that's his creation as well.
Is he a sometimes director of that, or he's like maybe a main...
I think he's the creator of
that's
it.
cool.
And maybe, I don't know if he's the only director, but either way. So
that is consistent with all of the messaging of this movie and
Yes.
Office Space and Beavis and Butthead.
this guy's obviously got a certain
View,
knack for a
yeah.
certain topic. And so it's cool to see that he's continued on that line and continued to be successful down that route. I am excited. I mean, not just because this is our first movie back, but this is a movie that I feel like people have referenced a lot in the last decade. Another thing the last thing I'll say that came up in my research is just that this movie definitely gained a lot of traction in 2016 for reasons you might be able to extrapolate.
If you can safely guess, then you're right. If you can't guess, then you're probably featuring in it. I don't know.
And then again, a couple of years ago, it picked up. So,
and even more recently, due to a certain UFC event,
yes.
which you will really just balk at in a few minutes to an hour. I don't know when we watch it.
No, I'm familiar. So
there is one other thing that's worth mentioning at the start, because it won't really get mentioned at all during the film.
okay.
But the footwear Crocs did not get a look in and was picked as the thing to wear in this film because it looked so stupid. And so the studio went, what can we do to buy a bunch of costume pieces on a budget? And they bought a bunch of Crocs stock, which gave the company enough money to then skyrocket it into the massive shoe industry we know as today.
Yeah.
So that is... But it doesn't get a mention in the film because at that time in 2006, Crocs was so...
Small and niche.
that they're just wearing these shoes to have the look.
A visually funny kind of gag piece of clothing.
And Crocs didn't exist at that point.
Yeah.
And then that was where they took off.
Very good.
So-
Well, I look forward to it. Look, I'm not opposed to a Croc moment. I think Crocs have their place.
Yeah, it is really funny.
I'm here
though.
wearing Uggs,
I'm here shoeless like a heathen.
Heathen in your own home. All right, well, let's get silly, get stupid, and watch Idiocracy.
First, we meet Joe, a wholly ordinary U.S. Army man. He and Woman of the Night, Rita, are selected to be frozen in time, a process which works all too well. Forgotten by the Army, the pair awaken 500 years later to discover that America has declined, filled with only the worst traits of society. Trash dominates the streets, and language has devolved to various slang and grunts. Joe, who appears as a strange outsider, is swiftly swept up by the poorly run legal system and only escapes punishment by performing unusually well on an aptitude test. Elevated to government, Joe is tasked with fixing the poor crop performance caused by the use of Brondo, it's what plants crave, instead of water. After a near brush with death in a monster truck derby, Rita helps Joe prove that his plan to revitalize the crops will work, saving both his life and the world from its eventual demise. Here's some deeper thoughts on the matter.
I have two main thoughts.
Only
about that
two?
movie.
That's so many more thoughts
Main
than
thoughts.
gone. We're presently being accosted by the third member of the household who is demanding a lot of pats.
The first thought is that there is, too many uncomfortable reminders of our current political state of the world in that movie. My second thought is how aggressively 2006 that movie was.
It has aged poorly. It's really interesting how it being a product of its time is not something that you remember. It's not something that I even thought about would be a thing in this movie, but of course it is, because they took what was essentially 2006 and went, what if all of the bad and none of the good?
Right.
And, you know,
Yeah.
yikes.
So almost immediately, there is some pretty confronting language that today is considered unacceptable slurs to most people.
Yeah,
But,
not something you'd put in a movie, especially if you wanted it to do well.
and not at that frequency.
And not so casually.
And now, here's the thing. I understand why in 2006 they did that is because, like you just said, they were like, what if only the worst was amplified and this is the type of language that the worst people use, therefore, yada, yada,
Yep.
it becomes the language that is just normal and all of that. So I
Still
understand.
made it very difficult to watch.
Yes, it definitely took me out of this is funny to deep levels of cringe and discomfort.
The cringe was pretty serious. That said, like, I think it was at the start, in our little intro, you had said that this, was a very thin plot that is held together by a bunch of different, individual jokes, basically. And it really was, because the overarching plot of, guy gets frozen and then wakes up 500 years in the future to hopefully fix all of America's problems. Mm-hmm. And then quote unquote funny stuff happens. It is an interesting, like, satirical look at what in 2006, the director and the story he was trying to tell is like, this is where we're heading. Obviously, as a hyperbole.
Right. I think that a lot of the jokes in it, I think something that I unfortunately just struggle to find funny, even in this hyperbolic, satirical way, is how so much of the humor is just kind of like body humor or... I don't know. But here's the thing. That was kind of the point, but I don't know. I always feel like, and this is kind of a funny thing to say, but I feel like there's a smarter way to do it. As in, like, a smarter way to make jokes about people being dumb. But it's hard. But I don't know. It
got its point across.
Yeah.
There's probably a better way to have done it, but I don't know. Maybe that's intentionally what was being gone for.
Maybe.
I think, because, like, my very distinct memories of the bits of this movie that were in my brain and went, ha ha ha, oh, this would be worth a rewatch given the current situation, was that I had the distinct memory of Brawndo. It's got what plants crave.
Right.
It's got electrolytes. Mm-hmm. And then President Terry Crews, President Mountain Dew Comanche.
Yeah.
I can't remember the rest of his name.
Yeah.
Just being like...
Who he is.
That whole character.
Yeah.
And then basically nothing else.
Right.
Not a single other thing from the movie did I remember.
Right.
Until quite recently, where I saw a short video of the reflection pool in America as it currently stands, and then it cuts to
the shot of the reflection pool with the jet skis in it.
And it's the same colour.
Yeah.
Because obviously in this, it's full of Brawndo.
Right. Right. It's and like things like that is funny. I think ultimately this, and I don't know if this was amplified by Maya Rudolph's presence, this felt like an extended SNL sketch to me.
Yes.
Like, it's an hour 24 of that kind of humor where they're kind of just like
making fun,
punchline after punchline, and it kind of ends up being getting a little old by the end. Because the point had been made in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's loosely thematic throughout, but it's and there ends its ability to be cohesive. It's just just a series of skits, and it was because there are very few recurring characters. And at one point, we were listening to Dax, who was speaking with like a very like tongue in the back of his teeth kind of accent. Because, no one can...
they're kind of this garbled speech of...
And, oh, man, I struggled to understand him, which I guess to the actor's credit, if he doesn't sound like that normally...
Right, well, that's the point, right? Is that they've lost the enunciation, the diction of intelligence and all that jazz. Like, I get it. I get why they made these choices. I mean, like, the Costco bit was like, that's funny, like, to have
Costco bit...
Costco's like
I laughed out loud at that.
Country, like,
They go inside Costco. It's like this way. It's about an hour.
Yeah.
Like that was. It's just there's a few little bits like that were quite funny.
I thought it was an interesting choice to make such an emphasis on like the sex work industry, being like having taken over these other like these companies had become just that, and then also their attitude towards Maya Rudolph's character, Rita, and like there's that whole thing. I don't know. That was an interesting choice to me. I don't know. It felt
Everything
almost
was very phallic focused for sure.
Well, yeah, and like obviously that again goes with like the bathroom humor, the body humor of it all. Like it was in line with that choice as well. But it was, I don't know. I think I sort of expected more. I feel like this movie was focused on what's the worst parts of humanity, not a regressing in our intelligence fully. It was more like, what if we all just weren't just stupid, but we're also bad people?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's like something that I don't know, that didn't, I feel like it would have been more interesting if it was more balanced and like, yes, people had lost general intelligence and understanding, and obviously they'd lost the ability to understand that water isn't good for plants and all these kind of what we perceive as basic intellectual points, but that they also did care about each other and were like, and had empathy, because empathy is partly intelligence, but I feel like they really took like kind of all of that away, and it was a real, I don't know, that didn't quite hit for me in the same way.
I wonder if we're searching for meaning in the wrong film, because I agree with you that a different and perhaps more interesting take on this would be, you're right, it wasn't just dumb, it was also bad.
Right.
Like, and the worst of people get on.
Right.
And that is like, I mean, to get really into this is probably not what they were going for, but that being poor and uneducated and therefore having lots of kids in large complicated families, like they illustrated at the start, is inherently both bad and dumb. And because those people generationally procreate and result in the idiocracy, they're like, oh, and that's the bad and dumb, and this is what we get.
Yeah.
I think it would have been much more interesting if the bad had come from the ruthless capitalist gain, which it kind of did, right? Because they sort of had Brando took over, and the reason all of these problems came is because Brando paid off and bought out everything and became the super monopoly. But that was really glazed over. So it was skated over completely.
Well, because it's still being run by quote unquote dumb people, so it's not like there's these intelligent overlords that are taking advantage of everyone else or something, which is,
It's just they're left with the bad from that, capitalist super monopoly.
Capitalism taking over, No, I guess that makes sense.
But because Costco still runs, and you have to assume at this point everything is automated, because they go to the hospital and there's a machine that does everything for them, right?
Right.
Everything is automated. Like in that, is it Wall-E, where they've got the fully automated space hab which they live in?
I think so, yeah.
That's sort of like a similar ideal, but executed very differently, obviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I agree with you that they basically went, let's take a 13-year-old boy's humor from 2006 and make that the level of intelligence that
everyone operates at.
And also the level of empathy.
And what everyone wants is that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think it would have been, and here's the thing, this is probably not what they were going for, like you said, but if I was to make a movie with this sort of satirical message about what would happen if we stopped kind of striving for better and stopped having interest in intellectual pursuits and anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it would have more impact if, old mate John, what's his name, John?
Joe. Not sure.
Yeah. If he wakes up and everyone is struggling, but also still they were worried about it.
Yeah.
And he had a motivation to help them partly.
Yeah,
because for me, I'm well, why wouldn't he just keep trying to go home? Obviously he couldn't in the end. The time machine wasn't a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a little one note. And I guess what was I really expecting, to be honest?
Yeah, a sci-fi comedy from 2006.
From the director of Beavis and Butthead.
When you put it in that context of from the director of Beavis and Butthead, what did I expect? Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, 100%. So, look, one of the takeaways that the two Wilson brothers are in it. That I can't believe I didn't. I mean, I know I'm face blind, but I still can't believe I didn't know that or see that or put two and two together for that.
I mean, I didn't know it until I looked at the cast list.
I mean, but they look like if you took Owen Wilson and then cut him into pieces and stuck him onto different people. Do you know what I mean? There are parts of Owen Wilson on those people.
Absolutely. Genetic similarities, you might say.
I know, it's wild. Anyway, so in the scene where Not Sure fights King Beef.
I don't know.
Beef Explosion?
Beef Supreme?
Beef Supreme.
Go on. This is a highbrow podcast.
These are the deeper thoughts. So when they're fighting each other, I'm like, oh, this is like a sibling rivalry. Anyway, that's all I was thinking about the whole time. Was it the best film I've ever seen? No. Would I tell anyone to go and watch it? No. I think the Instagram Reels and Facebook Shorts do it justice.
What I think this film can be now, I think it can be those side-by-side shots. So, like, the still image of the reflecting pool, or, like, the still image of, like, the
crack house, White House.
Yeah, and, like, the WWE kind of president versus the event on the lawn of the White House that just happened. Like, these comparisons still hold horrible merit in kind of showing that it had this prescience in some form.
Yeah.
And, like, there is other elements as well, like the excessive amounts of advertising, right? Like, in today's world, are getting more and more infiltrated with different kinds of advertising and promotion that is harder and harder to avoid without paying money to avoid it.
And the tattoos on everyone's arm, like being unscannable, is like
like trackable.
Literally a crime.
Yeah, exactly. And the justice system being terrible.
Honestly, the justice system, because it's, Judge Judy being not real, but like being televised justice system, and this justice system being like a
reality TV.
Like a rap battle reality TV show. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. It did have funny moments, but I think, unfortunately, it doesn't have enough depth, and it has too much 2006 in it to be worth an actual rewatch with interest.
So if you see it come up on the shorts or the reels, and you have a chuckle and you think to yourself, oh, maybe this is worth a rewatch. It isn't. Watch the reels and enjoy them, and then scroll on. Scroll on, friend.
Scroll on past the advertisements. Yeah. I respect what Mike Judge was going for.
Yeah.
Execution, I have some notes.
Yeah. I wonder if we did this, if this podcast was a thing, because podcasts weren't a thing, I guess, 20 years ago. But if this podcast was a thing 20 years ago, and we had watched this as it had just come out, and it had come out in the context of other comedies a la 2006, what was that one that really fell flat for us? I think, like 20 episodes ago, we did that one with the guy who gets the word of God, Bruce Almighty.
Right.
And that one is like another, mid-thousands, early thousands comedy that did not land well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, but that at the time, that was a really popular film. And so I wonder if we were doing this podcast, reviewing this movie back then, whether A, we would have gone, it's not prescient, this is ridiculous, that could never happen.
Probably.
And B, was it actually much more funny and much less cringy? I
think that you're probably right in that I think teenage boys probably still would have found it funny.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Unfortunate, but I don't think they would have maybe understood the message then. So it's kind of like you're not going to find it funny if you get the message, and you'll find it. It's a little bit like you can't get both sides of this. You can, if you're going to laugh at it, you're going to laugh in that oh god kind of way of like this is uncomfortable and not even uncomfortable in like a clever way. Just like
so you're either laughing at the movie or the movie is laughing at you. It's one of those two.
Look, I don't have much to say other than that because, it's not exactly like there's plot to decipher. Like, it was an extended sketch. Like, you got an hour 24 was really drawing it out, and that's a short movie.
I did have a moment of panic after the crops start to grow and they pardon and he gets made vice president.
Yeah.
And then, I opened up the player app and it was stuck at halfway. I actually had this fleeting, fearful moment that we were actually only halfway. And I was like, how has it only been 45 minutes? I feel like we've sat here for an hour and a half. And we had, thank goodness, it was just in the wrap up. But boy, that was a moment of fear.
No, for sure.
So it did drag a little for an hour and 20. And it was because of that one note comedy. And Luke Wilson, bless his socks, he didn't have to work very hard.
No, he certainly had an interesting acting task before him. Kind of a fun one, though, to be honest, because you just have to act very normal. His name is literally Joe. He's Joe Blow in the movie, right? He's the most regular man. So in terms of acting, it's just act pretty regular and be confused and angry and frustrated all the time.
Be uninspiringly normal.
Right.
Yeah. So he didn't, the bar wasn't set very high. Terry Crews brought Terry Crews energy to it, which is why he was a memorable component.
I don't find, I mean, Dax Shepard's character, I don't think, see, here's the thing. In my mind, I feel like someone could play that character and I would have liked the character more.
Pretty hard to do.
But hard to do, is what I'm saying. I think it would take a very talented actor.
Like,
And he is not that. So he's just aggressively unlikable.
Put like a physical comedy character in that. Like, imagine a very likable Robin Williams. Imagine if Robin Williams had tried to play that character.
Right.
It would have had to have been really slapstick for it to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Which Dax Shepard, bless his socks, didn't do any slapstick really at all.
But maybe that wasn't even what they wanted, though. They wanted someone truly so bland and... and that's what they got. Like, it really amplified that in his character.
Do we have a quick sidebar about, is this what Dax Shepard is really like? And poor Kay Bell?
No, she's not. He's not like that. I think he's got other flaws. But I thought that Maya Rudolph did a fine job. I mean, she's a secondary character. I like I said kind of earlier, I don't love that they kind of spent so much time focusing on her being a prostitute,
like that's
a sex worker.
Like and that was like they spent so much time with that.
I thought it was going to be just a funny aside that like they couldn't find a woman in the military that was average enough, so that they had to get her, and that was kind of going to be the reason that she was part of the experiment, and then she was going to have a character outside of that, but she didn't.
They really missed the opportunity to like
have her be smart as well.
Well, that and like because there's so many cases of like where an average man just got there by being average and is average, right. But for a woman to be in the same spot has to be above and beyond and put up with so many more things.
Yeah.
So they really could have spent more time on that gag, even right at the start where that like the sergeant or whatever is introducing with the slideshows is going through is like, yeah, we found Joe out of our like 18 million servicemen in this state, bang, right there, 50% across the board, perfect in every way for what we want.
Perfectly average.
Perfectly average in every way for what we want. And then we looked at all of our other service members who identify as female, and they're all in like the 95th percentile and above. So we just couldn't afford to lose any of them.
Yeah. And they could have even made it even funnier, and so they pick up Rita off the street, but she ends up, she's actually really smart as well. Like, they don't know, they don't even test her because they just assume. And then, like, I don't know, they could have really made her character something more, and I think it would have been more complimentary to have her, like, Rita and Joe, because, like, she's kind of just there. At no point, she's just a passenger. Like, Joe's trying to get them both home, and she's just there. And
she's a vehicle for him to be a nice guy, and therefore she returns the favor by, like...
saving him.
Doing the crop
So it's
footage.
like, I don't know. That, to me, is just another mist. Like, that's what made it feel so shallow as a concept. Is like... And again... Are we asking too much from a comedy movie?
I mean, its budget was $2 million and it didn't do well, so...
Right. I just feel like they could have done maybe a little bit more with it, possibly, and... I don't know.
This is probably one of those cases where maybe if there'd been like more women in the writer's room, there might have been some better ideas.
Yeah, look, I would have had some feedback for sure. Look, I'm glad to have seen it just to have the kind of context of when people are bemoaning how far the world has gone in that direction versus another direction.
Yeah.
I now know what they're referencing, and that is good to have, but I certainly won't be thinking about it a whole lot personally because, you know.
Except for the earworm, Brondo. It's got what plants crave.
I mean, yeah, I think every time I have like a sports drink from now on, anything with electrolytes in it.
It's got what plants crave. What can you do? Yeah. And we're going to be starting a garden soon.
What are electrolytes? Well, it's what Brondo's made out of. Why? Because it's what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Anyway.
How hard is this to understand?
That was funny. That was good. That, you know, and like it had some good gags, but like I said, I feel like if all you can say about a movie is that it has as much value as a good SNL sketch, like there's a reason why it probably didn't take off and whatever. But anyway, what a movie to return with.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's kind of good. You know, sometimes we need a movie that's not like a win in terms of like, that's the reason why it's better late than never doesn't mean that, it's better late than never for you to love a movie. It's just to have had it experienced, you know, like to know the references, to add it to the catalogue of experiences. Like, they're going to be all over the shop.
You know, it is interesting because you're dead right. At the intro, you said that Mike Judge did Beavis and Butthead, did this, did that new TV show.
Office Space.
But did Office Space.
Right.
Now, I have really fond memories of Office Space, and I almost don't want to watch it now because what if What if, you know?
Look, we have ruined a couple of movies for you already.
It's honestly pretty upsetting. So, because my memory of, like, this obviously has a lot of 2006 cringe humor.
Yes.
But my memory of Office Space is that it's more about, like, this worker bee is his struggle with being just, like, under the thumb of the corporate cog.
Maybe his humor or his writing style works better in a more zoomed in version of it. Because from what I gather, Office Space is, like you said, about the kind of corporate life, a microcosm of that, and one particular corporate slave, as it were.
Yeah. So that
maybe that is more his avenue, because that sounds maybe like what Silicon Valley touches on.
Yeah.
Similarly. Whereas this is a much more ambitious look of, like, America as a whole.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit too, like, broad brush.
It takes all of the aspects of culture and like we said, takes the worst of it. Like, it's really, it's a bold approach.
Look, all I can say is I can see why the studio tried to, like, kick it under the rug.
Yeah. I do wonder how, I mean, you can't know what it would feel like to go to the movies. I mean, if you're going to see a movie called Idiocracy, surely you've got some idea of what's going on. But then again, are we expecting too much from people?
I don't know, man. Idiocracy would say that we are, but something. I'm also done with things to talk about this movie because there wasn't a lot to talk about.
No.
Do we want to brainstorm some ideas about maybe what season 3 is going to look like for the Better Late Than Never Club?
Sure. Welcome to the board meeting.
Welcome to the board meeting.
I did have some thoughts. I was thinking that we could sort of do a rotating weekly schedule because I would love to go back to weekly schedule releasing.
Bold.
Bold.
Are you going to talk to the editor? I'm scared of the editor. I'm not going to ask him this.
The editor gets paid in head scratches. I'm sure he'll agree.
Okay. You say so.
But I was thinking some kind of weekly rotation to keep us upbeat and not downtrodden, not to get sucked into a hole of sad or bad movies. Is we could do sort of 1 week we do a...
You're thinking about cycling through genres?
Yeah, so some kind of rotating schedule of genres. It doesn't have to necessarily be any specific genre, but maybe something scary, something funny, something serious, and something classic.
Sounds like the 4 things for a wedding.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So there's something scary. Doesn't have to be a straight horror movie. It could be more thriller or even like something action,
Yeah.
whatever.
Action could be scary.
Yeah.
I don't like going outside.
Something funny can be obviously comedy or even rom-com, maybe something animated, something more upbeat.
Yeah.
It'd be good to follow up the scary week with something upbeat.
Minimal tears.
Something serious, obviously, is probably going to be more likely a drama,
or
maybe
an
a
epic,
mystery or an epic or something.
Maybe a crime.
Perhaps a crime. And then the something classic can sort of be anything, but I feel like the classic weeks should be the weeks where we really pull out the big hitters of movies I really should have seen.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Idiocracy is a movie...
So that would have probably fallen into the something funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like those 4 categories sort of cover most things, and that sort of helps us move through different vibes.
Yeah.
Within a month of releases. We've sort of covered our bases on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
If that sounds good to you.
I mean, look, I'm amenable to more or less anything. I was also wondering whether or not we try and work in... Let me restart this thought. Sometimes we talk about experiencing the movies in the context of the time where they, were released. And then we talk about, what would have people thought or felt when they went into the cinema? Like, what did they know going into it? That kind of stuff. So I was wondering whether or not we should try and, dig up trailers or advertising for films, if such a thing existed or still exists. Because if we do really old films, those promos might not be accessible anymore.
Sure.
But maybe try and work in those promos to sort of add context to what was going through people's minds at the time. Because, like, there's the classic movie trailer voiceover.
In a world.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's not really done so much anymore, right? These days we get a trailer that's about 90% of the plot condensed into 2 minutes so people know what they're going in to see with some high budget action shots worked in, right? So we get a 3-minute trailer. Now you've seen Avengers Endgame, you don't need to see the full 90 minutes unless you want to see more of Thor's abs, I guess, or whatever. Whereas, like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was in a world where Brondo is we get the whole
Sure.
voiceover, and that's so iconic. It spawned a whole YouTube channel of like fake movie trailers. Mm-hmm. But it would be interesting to sort of see like, well, what did people know about Idiocracy going into it? What did they know about Office Space going into it? What was the trailer for it? So maybe we can work that in as well. Maybe as part of the recap, maybe part of the intro.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I'm not sure how it would come across on an audio medium necessarily. I mean, I probably, as someone who likes to go in as blind as I can to something, I probably wouldn't want to watch the trailers for things prior to watching the film itself.
Oh, no, I mean like in post. Do you know what I mean? Like we watched the movie and we're talking about it, and we've also watched the trailers. You can talk about them. Yeah. Just an idea.
You know what I realised? We haven't actually scored Idiocracy yet.
No, well, I'm sitting on a pretty... I know exactly what my score is going to be. I know how I'm going to score it. So do you?
All right. I think I have a score in mind.
After you. First score of the season.
Oof, this is going to be a rough one. And Mike Judge, if you ever listen to this, listen, I think you probably have some really good ideas. I just think this one didn't quite hit the mark and has suffered in the 20 years that have passed since its release.
Caveats aside.
With all that, with love in my heart, I give Idiocracy 4.8 prisoners shackled to a really large rock out of 10.
I'm not going to be that much more generous. I'm giving it 5 out of 10 electrolytes.
It's what the plants crave.
That is what the plants crave.
Well,
what a film to start off. What a low note to really bring us in.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need something really highbrow next week just to remind me that humans are capable of that.
That art is...
That art is real and we can watch it and experience it, and we are not yet in the times of Idiocracy.
Yeah. They never even solved the garbage avalanche problem.
No.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Let us know if you've seen Idiocracy, what you thought of it, whether you think you're going to watch it despite our protestations.
Please don't. And if you've got a film that you'd like us to watch, and if it falls into any of the genres, and I mean any of the genres, we'll slot it into our, schedule coming up. So tell us your films, because we've got a list. The films that you want us to watch are probably more interesting.
That's a long way of saying send us your recommendations wherever you can find us, Instagram, Facebook, Pigeon. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk at you next time.
Till next time.
Bye-bye. This episode of the Better Late Than Never Club is brought to you by our patrons: Alex, Christopher, Lindy, Matthew, Nathan, and Rachel.
And also our members: Amos, Andrew, Elizabeth, Raina, Salty Pond, and Simon.
Thank you for listening.